Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel where we learn the tips and tricks to gardening and so much more. Today is part 2 of how to prevent or get rid of those pesky pests, and we are back at Bunny Trail Farms. One of their biggest pests are deer. So today we're going to go over some of the ways that you can help prevent deer from entering your garden, all the way from extremely expensive ways to some of the cheapest ways to help keep the deer away from our garden. So come with me and let me show you how we do it. All right, y'all, and now if you've ever had a deer in your garden, you know how much destruction a deer can do. For example, one year somehow a buck and a doe got into the garden and completely destroyed all the tomatoes and all the corn, and we had to totally replant everything, and it set us back so much. So ever since then, that was about 3 years ago, so right before COVID. So ever since then, we have set up some foolproof ways and have not had any issues since. So let me show you how we do it. All right, y'all, this is garden number 1. And deer are notoriously known for being able to jump very high. So this is the entrance where we have our gate. It only comes up, let's say, 4.5 feet. But we put this up here, so therefore if they did try to jump through this, hopefully they will not be able to with the board. And then surrounding the rest of the garden, this is a 6-foot high fencing that we have all over, all around the rest of the way. So we have yet to have one jump over this fence, thankfully, and we haven't had any troubles. The fencing, we had to get about 2 rolls. It cost about $40 to $50 depending on where you're located, but for us the 2 rolls were about $40 to $50. We did have plenty left over, so we were able to use that for other things, cages for tomatoes, things like that. But as you can see, it's pretty sturdy, and there's no way to get through this. That is one way we have helped prevent in garden number 1, the deer. All right, y'all, we are at garden number 2. This is the main event garden. It hosts most of the produce that we will sell or can. Garden number 1 is more for personal use for day to day, and this will be to last us along with selling the produce. This one is the one that we've had the most trouble with, but like I said, about 3 years ago, we decided to put an electric fence. And the electric fence goes all the way around, all the way to the entrance. And it is hot, so I am not going to touch it. But it has helped tremendously. This is a much more expensive way, because not only do you have to buy the wire, which can be pricey, but then you pay for the electricity. So it's definitely a more expensive way, but like I said, putting us back about 3 years ago, putting us back so much, we had to do what we had to do. And the money was well worth it, like I said, because we haven't had any issues. And we had more of stakes, and then we used some of the wood that we've cut down around. I'll show you over here some of the wood in the area that we cut down that we used for posting. So obviously that was free, that was just labor. And we also tend to place these around, and the sound tends to deter them as well as the wind is blowing. But unfortunately, if you have no wind, then like we do not today, then it doesn't work. Another good thing about the wire is very hard to see. So they just generally run into it, shocks them, and then they run away. And deer are very intelligent. They're not dumb. They have tested it out in multiple areas, but have yet to get through, and they have not tried to jump it. They're too afraid. So it has worked. Pricey, but it has worked. All right, y'all, another way that you can help keep deer out of your garden, and probably one of the cheapest ways, is fishing line. We don't use any of it here, but if you have like a smaller garden, it's perfect for that. So you go buy some fishing line and put a couple of stakes around your garden, and just, you know, do a fishing line across the bottom, maybe the middle, and maybe at the top. The great thing about that is, once again, the deer cannot see the fishing line, and they'll just run right into it, and then they trip, and or they're confused on what just happened, and they might try again, but they just don't understand, and eventually they'll give up and they'll leave. What you want to do is make sure that the stakes are very secure in the ground, because if they're not and a huge buck comes, it can possibly rip it up or tear it up, and then so just it would be pointless by then. So just make sure that the stakes are in the ground, very secure, and I would suggest doing bottom for smaller deer, middle, and then top. I wouldn't put it more than maybe 4 feet high, and you can do more than 3 if you want. I don't see the point of it, but 3 should be good enough. But that can also help, and I've used it before in some of my smaller gardens, and it's worked great. So that's just another thing to help. All right, y'all, so before it gets too dark, the final way that we help prevent deer, I mostly do around my garden at home, where it's not as big, and deer do not come into my garden often, so I just use it as more of a safety precaution, just in case. And that is mixing garlic, cayenne pepper, water, a little bit of detergent, and a little bit of oil. So what I'll do is, in the morning, I'll get up and I will film and video making it, and then how I spray it on my produce. Because one of the things with insects is it will not prevent insects or help with insects, but deer are mammals, and just like us, when they taste cayenne pepper or any sort of pepper, they get the heat off of it. So if for somehow the garlic smell does not keep them away, then as they go to eat on the plant, they will taste the spiciness and not like it, and then decide not to eat it. Unfortunately, every time it rains, it'll wash it off, and so it's kind of one of those things you got to do more often. And though not expensive, it's just more time consuming, because you have to consistently do it after a rain. And like I said, at my house, I just use it as a precaution. But if you notice deer have gotten into your garden or that keep coming back, then this is a great way to help prevent them from continuing to come back. They'll eventually just give up and go to somebody else's garden. So, and now before I finally shut this off, because it's getting darker and darker, and I know it's going to be too dark, but they want to say hi. Can y'all say hi, guys? Yeah? Yeah, y'all want to be part of it? Yep, yep. Say hi. All right, so I'll see you in the morning, and we'll make some of our, I don't even know how to call it, deer repellent, and then we will spray it on my garden, and then you can see how I do it. All right, y'all, that's it for today. So I hope that helped, And if you have any questions on where you can find some of these products, just comment below. So have a great day and God bless.